All right, here we are, another week. Just finished on my workout for today. My hardest thing was probably my squat heels, where I was squatting about 200 pounds. And then I was doing 50-pound dumbbells for incline chest press. So I'm a little bit gassed, but we're ready to go. I'm featuring music again on the board here. June 24, 2024. That's my most recent playlist. You can find on my public Spotify for music around the time. Brain Food, however, is a Spotify playlist that I've really enjoyed. I'd recommend it. It helps me stay focused. I've been really cognizant of the type of content I'm consuming lately as I'm trying to produce these videos. Starting out with finances, we are still at our biannual pay, so we're waiting on that second paycheck, but we're doing pretty good. We've about used all of it, and it's the 8th. I gotta make it to the 15th. We're gonna focus more on this slide as we end July and reevaluate what we're going to do as a result of our income to our expenses. Meditation wise, going to start with the daily laws. Delay satisfaction. The essence of the coquette lies not in the tease and temptation, but in the subsequent step back, the emotional withdrawal. That is the key to enslaving desire. I had two of them that I really liked from this past week. So the second one was the empathetic attitude. Let go of your tendency to make snap judgments. Open your mind to seeing people in a new light. Do not assume that you are similar or that they share your values. I thought this was profound, just in the idea that we think everyone is similar to us. We want to believe that, but it's not necessarily true. And delaying satisfaction is how we're going to achieve our goals, and it's how you get people to like you and to quote, enslave desire. Moving over to the Bible, we're sticking with Matthew. And in chapter 19, verse 5 to 6, Jesus is talking with his disciples and the Pharisees, and they're talking about marriage, which I thought was an excellent thing to talk about. I just enjoyed it. He said, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother, and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let no man separate." And this is similar to the idea of the daily laws, where you got to make sure people align with your values. And when you're looking at marriage and becoming one flesh, you got to make sure the other person is willing to do so. Continuing. In chapter 22, verses 19 to 21, Jesus talks about taxation, which I thought was interesting. He asked for a denarius from the crowd, which was the currency at the time, to explain this message, where he denotes that on the coin has Caesar's face. So he says, "Therefore render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." So, like, taxation, Caesar's face is on the coin, so relay that back to Caesar. In the same way, our body belongs to God, to the universe, and to keep that for him, and to not abuse it. And going along, he's preaching to the Pharisees and in the temple, and he said something that I thought was profound. I liked, whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. And continuing down, Jesus was then talking about the end times with the disciples here in chapter 24 on verse 42. And he said this that I really liked. Basically, he was like, if a master were to know that a thief was coming that night, he would stay up all night and wait for the thief to show up. But you don't know when the thief is coming. And in the same way, you do not know when the Lord is coming. So he says, therefore, stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. And I thought that to be interesting in the way where you got to stick to your discipline and stick to following your beliefs. It's very the stay awake stuck out to me in a way that you want to be conscious every day, and not slip into the unconscious. Moving on to Right Thing Right Now, our current book. We had a lot of chapters that I read this week, kind of burning through this book because I love it. It's a great book. I got a lot of content to cover here. We're going to cut this in half, and we're just going to do the first 5 here, starting with good, not great. And, he talks about meditations in this chapter. He says, the man who wrote in Meditations that doing the right thing today was far more valuable than posthumous fame managed to get both. So, he got to do the most important thing today, and he got fame because he did the right thing. That was more than irony. It was the whole point of doing it. He was good for so long that he became great. And history is replete with ambitious, successful people. Decency, honor, kindness, we see much less of this. So, that's where I have on the screen here, to be good and good at what you do, this is more rare. It's what makes you a unicorn, to be a good person. And be upstanding, be good at what you do, and be a great person at the same time. Being an open book. So, before you read that, evil hates the light. If we've inclined to hide it, we probably shouldn't do it. We should strive for the opposite. We want people to see what we're doing. We want to be the city on the hill. We want to be the kind of person who, the more they hear about us, the more they respect and admire us. And then we read, let us live in a way that makes us proud, that makes us act during the day in a way that allows us to sleep at night. So the right thing to do, kind of per the title of the book, is to live in a way that, if our actions were to be revealed to the public, that we wouldn't be ashamed. Be decent is the next chapter. Respect is justice. And we're chipping away at justice here throughout the book, and I really like it. Respect is justice. It's something that everyone deserves. We might all look different and live very different lives, but we should remember that all of us feel pressed for time and feel inadequate or insecure. Let's treat people accordingly. Let's do what we can. Let's be a small light in a dark world. And that's the idea behind be decent, is to and that's part of the previous chapter from last week we discovered, where being just is a societal practice. You want to, in order to help society further, you must be kind to other people. Do your job is the next chapter. Seest a diligent man in his business, he shall stand before kings. Your job is to be a good person. Keep people safe, show up, be honest, care, act like a fiduciary. You swore an oath to yourself, now keep it. And he describes this with a policeman, basically, doing the right thing and protecting the people. But you can do this in your own way. Just, you know what the right way is, which we'll explain later in a chapter that I really like. But first, keep your hands clean. This talks about bribery, and it's a decision you make in your life purely for money doesn't end up going the right way is the essence of this chapter. A lot of bribes just with politicians in this chapter, but he says basically, when you accept that bribe, you find out that you did have a price, and then you pay the ultimate price, because that's the kind of person you are at that point, is the person that could be bought. So that's something to keep in mind with bribery and any sort of value exchange. On the latter half, we got integrity is everything. And this is where I was talking about we would explore this later. Integrity is living by what you think is right, not what you can get away with, not what everyone else is doing. This is what I think justice is as a whole. Is just what you think is correct is what justice is about. This chapter discusses Ulysses S. Grant and slavery. He was gifted a slave from which he decided to free himself on his own volition because he couldn't bear to have a human being as a slave. And that's something he wanted to be an honest man, where even though he was poor and he was gifted the slave through a wedding, and he was working on the farm and the slave would help him with his productive output, he wanted to be an honest person. And integrity sometimes is relegated to the drawer labeled too hard, but life is much harder and sadder without it. So, that's Ulysses S. Grant, and that you just want to make sure you're living by what you think is right is the whole deal with integrity. Only you'd have that answer. Realize Your Potential was a great chapter that I really liked. I kind of want to read a little bit of it for you. On a frigid night in Chicago in 1927, the architect and his inventor Buckminster Fuller decided to end it. He was a failure. He had been kicked out of Harvard. He had buried a child. His drinking problem was a secret shame. It was time, he thought, to swim out as far as he could into Lake Michigan and drown. Yet, as he prepared to die, he heard a voice that said, in effect, "How dare you? Who do you think you are, to abandon the responsibilities of life, to your children, to the world? You do not have the right to eliminate yourself," the voice said. "You do not belong to you. You belong to the universe. The significance of you will forever remain obscure to you, but you may assume that you are fulfilling your significance if you apply yourself to converting all your experience to the highest advantage of others. You and all men are here for the sake of other men. He carried this thought with him when he came back from the ledge, and indeed for the rest of his life. Just the idea of, you don't have the right to eliminate yourself, and you don't belong to you, you belong to the universe, I thought was interesting. Some grow, some hide, some don't reach their potential, some do, but this is a matter of justice. Do your best, become what you can be. You owe the world that much. The aim of life is self-development, to realize one's nature perfectly. That is what each of us are here for. And the most damnable indictment is they could have been more. They could have done more. They wasted their gifts. Be loyal. Loyalty is expensive. It's inconvenient. It gets in the way. It's messy. It's complicated. It's hard to explain. But loyalty does not mean protecting people from the consequences of their actions. Loyalty is something we give. It's not something we expect, nor is it something we ought to expect always be understood. We do it because it's right. We have an obligation to the people who've helped us, to the places that made us, to those who have been loyal to us, to the truth and our cause. And finally, choose a North Star. This is where I think the book, again, is getting really good. Discipline, the previous book, can feel constraining, like it's telling you what you can't do. Justice is something different. Justice is an ideal to aspire to, something higher to aim at. That's what a North Star is. It's, the idea that you hold yourself to a set of standards. It's similar to discipline, but it's not the same. He describes it with a fashion company where the boss of the fashion company had all of their workers paid a significant higher wage, and they all had benefits because he believed it was the right thing to do to take care of his employees. And that was the North Star that led the company. So, the weather will change, but the stars do not. You got to follow what you think is right and follow the North Star. And from last week, well, that's it for the book. Follow the North Star. Last week we were talking about goals, and for July I just want to take some time and focus on this for our second video. So plans, they're acted out in years. Goals happen in quarters, and the days are defined by our habits. So, if our plan is to be successful, our goals are going to be our achievements, and then our days are going to be filled with the actions that are our habits. And so, before, the goals were money, muscles and health and social media presence. So that's what success looks like, right? That's the plan. And then the goal with our achievements, so the achievements are going to be tackling debt and buying prizes, keeping ourselves motivated by having nice things. With muscles and health, it's going to be physique and energy output. And then with social media presence, it's going to be upload count and production. That's the only thing we can really control. And so those are the achievements, and then our actual actions are going to be tracking the money, working out, which I do three times a week. We're going to bump those numbers up. They're rookie numbers. You got to go 5 days a week, eating 5 meals a day, and then our weekly upload. Those are our current actions that we're taking towards it. So we're just going to be mindful of this going forward. And goals from last week. So this is a new slide that I put on. I was deciding to make myself accountable in a way that's different. So we're going to just go down and talk about each one and why I didn't hit it, and then it'll be there for next week. So like meal prep, I didn't hit it again. I had the 4th of July, I had to attend a party, I didn't have my weekend routine together, which is another one down the line. But there is a mini check mark because I did buy these like protein pancakes, so it's helping out my breakfast. It's like 20 grams of protein for 3 little pancakes. I throw it in the microwave. So there's a little bit of meal prep. It's a step in the right direction. Emails. I did some emails. I want to do that again next week, so we're going to keep attention to that week after week. Weekend routine, it's not there yet, but we're getting there. And we did make this video but better, so we're going to give ourselves that win. I did not work on Ambition 2, but we got to put it up here. I didn't make the gaming video backlog, but I did upload a vlog. So this list helped me really motivate myself to put this video out. You could go watch it if you'd like, but this is where we're going to keep track of our production. By next week, I hope to have more of these videos up, and we'll see where we're at. And then these are the goals in general. The golf clubs and all that. These are the prizes, the carrot at the end of the stick. And you know the drill. Make this video, but better next week. Peace out.